Welcome to the District 48 Contest Chair Training. We are glad that you've taken the time to join us this evening. I'm Christine Urin. I'm a member of Advanced Articulators Toastmasters and part of the District 48 Contest Resource Team. This evening's session will be presented by District 48 Contest Chair Jeanette Sweeney, Hannah Lonsdale, President of Toastmasters at All Children's Hospital, and Heather Parsons, President of Palm Harbor Toastmasters. Tonight, we'll take a look at what it takes to plan and host a fantastic online contest. We'll talk about contest rules and the rule book, early contest planning, breakout rooms, the importance of solid communication, everything up to the day of the contest and afterward. If you have questions throughout the session, please send them to me, Christine Urin, via private chat, and I'll make sure that your question is answered during the question and answer portion at the end of the meeting. Now, to get us started,
well, I don't know.
Is Hannah Lonsdale.
We're unmuted.
Hey, Christine,
take it away, Hannah.
From the government, that was back in 1994.
Rosemary.
We've been in.
There's a gentleman on the screen under Rosemary.
Joe was.
Is it Joe? You keep coming off mute.
I'll mute him. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Who here has been the contest chair for a contest more than 5 times? Raise your hands. Oh, I'm seeing a few old hands there. Who's done it more than once or twice? Excellent. Is it anyone's first time? It's my first time being contest chair. So you might wonder, why am I teaching you how to do it? But the idea is that we have a really diverse team that plan the contest chair training this evening, and we want to appeal and have something for everybody, from really experienced hosts, contest chairs, right through to first timers like me. So bear with me and we'll get started. What does a contest chair do? Can everyone unmute their microphones? Make some suggestions on what the contest chair does as part of organizing a contest.
Build a team.
Build a team, fantastic.
Delegates.
Delegates. These are all wonderful leadership skills, aren't they?
Make sure everything's in order.
Keeping things in order, yeah.
Communications.
Communications, yep. These are all wonderful.
Preparations get done.
Hey, I don't think you guys even need the training. You know all this already.
We do unmute, but you can't hear us anyway.
I'm sorry?
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to cover all those things in more detail during the course of the training. The first thing I want to say is that there are many ways to host a contest. We're going to tell you some that have worked well for the experienced members of our team. But when you talk to the leaders who've organized contests at your own club, you might find that there are other ideas that have worked really well at your club. So feel free to get creative. But there is one thing that you have to get right and that you have to follow, and that are the contest rules. The contest rules are, they have to be standard. Whatever you do, everything else can be flexible. So the first thing that you need to do as a contest chair is familiarize yourself with the rule book. Here it is. This is Aaron Beverly. He was the world champion of public speaking in 2019, looking very pleased with himself, as you would. If you haven't seen his speeches, look them up on YouTube. They're a masterclass. They're really funny as well. So this is going to be your best friend for the next few weeks while you're organizing a speech contest. And it's really not that bad. I've read it several times now to be able to produce this session. Okay, it's never going to win a Pulitzer Prize, sorry Toastmasters, but it's actually not so bad. And there are some sections that are really important to pay attention to. So that's sections 2, 4, 5, 6, and the sections for the individual contests. So for this part of the year, that is the evaluation contest and the international speech contest. The reason we want to pay really close attention to following the rules is because fairness protects contestants. Imagine you run your club contest and the winner of your club contest goes to the area contest and wins. They go to the division contest and they win. And then they get to the District 48 Spring Conference to compete in the District 48 final speech contest. And someone realizes that you didn't hold your club contest in accordance with the rules. And then that contestant gets disqualified. And we really don't want that to happen. That would be really sad. So that's why it's important to follow the rules. We're going to help you though. Now, video time. I'm going to show you a short introductory video to the rules to help you get started with familiarizing yourself with those rules.
Hi, welcome to this short introduction.
Well, it's no, I'm on iPod settings, so I'm just I
It is
watch
where conflict is perceived between what I'm saying and the rulebook. The official rulebook always takes precedence. We have also produced a separate video giving an overview of the specific rules for each of the international, evaluation, humorous, and table topics contests. Section 1. The speech contest rulebook is protocol and applies to all official Toastmasters speech contests. You cannot modify the rules for your club's contests. Contestants must be a paid member of the club at which they are competing. And this means having dues and membership current with World Headquarters. Clubs must also be in good standing to hold a contest. A member can compete at each club for which they are a member. They need to have completed level 1 and 2 of any pathway or 6 projects of the Competent Communication Manual. Some people are not eligible. These include various district and international officers and those campaigning for office, also the contest chair and all functionaries, and presenters of education sessions related to contests. The winner of the World Championship of Public Speaking is not eligible to compete in future international speech contests, but they can compete in all the other contests. Judges and functionaries must be a paid member of any club. And note, at club level, there is no requirement for Pathways project completion for judges. Contest competitors are ineligible to be functionaries or judges. The contents of prepared speeches are selected and created by the contestant. Content must be substantially original, and this means 25% or less may be quoting, paraphrasing, or referencing someone else. There's a new rule. A contestant may not reference a speech presented by one of their competitors. If a contestant intends to use props in their speech, they must notify the contest chair in advance and comply with Section 8 of the rulebook. Each contest needs a contest chair, chief judge, at least 5 voting judges, a tie-breaking judge, 2 counters, and 2 timers, unless impractical. Voting judges must remain anonymous such that the competitors do not know who is judging them. Contest chair may appoint a contest master to host the contest. The chief judge does not actually judge any of the contestants. Makes perfect sense, right? The judges and competitors must receive separate briefings before the contest, and this is to cover rules and procedures and for contestants to draw a speaking position. If a contestant misses the briefing but arrives before the contest master is introduced, they can compete if their paperwork is in order and if they waive the opportunity of a briefing. If they arrive after the contest master is introduced, disqualified. Digital signatures are permitted for all paperwork. Voting judges must sign the judge's certificate of eligibility and code of ethics and return it to the chief judge. They need to have the correct ballots and judging instructions distributed in advance. After each contestant speaks in the contest, there is 1 minute of silence. This is for the judges to mark their ballots. Kind of feels weird, but go with it. After the final contestant has finished speaking, again, there is silence. until the ballot counters have collected all of the ballots. For a judge's ballot to be valid, they must enter their choices for first, second, and third place as appropriate, and then sign and print their name. The tie-breaking judge. The chief judge selects and is the only one who knows their secret superhero tie-break judge identity. They don't come to the judge's briefing, but they will need to get the tie-breaking judge's guide and ballot appropriate to the contest being held before the beginning of the contest. More on their role later. Ballot counters need to be given the counter's tally sheet. They collect completed ballots from voting judges, except the tie-break judge. The tie-breaking judge gives their ballot directly to the chief judge. Ballot counters tabulate results using the counter's tally sheet. 3 points for each first place ranking from a judge, 2 for second, 1 for third, and then add up the total points. All ballot counters must verify these tallies. They then rank contestants by number of points scored. The contestant with the highest number of points is the winner, etc., etc. If there is a tie, guess what happens? Who might break a tie? I bet you didn't guess it. It's the tie-breaking judge. Their ballot is then opened. The tied candidate who is highest ranked by the tie-breaking judge will gain the tied place. The chief judge then puts the ranking onto the notification of contest winner form and submits to the area director or contest chair of the area contest. The chief judge also puts the name of the winners in reverse order onto the results form. Don't get this wrong. Announcing the wrong winner, awkward. For this reason, although the announcement of contest winners is final, if the list of winners is announced incorrectly, the chief judge, ballot counters, or timers are permitted to immediately interrupt to correct the error. The chief judge keeps the ballots and tally sheets until the winners have been announced and then destroys them. Each contest has 2 timers. They need to be given the speech contest time record sheet and instructions for timers in advance. One timer has a stopwatch. They are considered the official timer of the contest and complete the time record sheet. The other timer has a method for displaying green, yellow, and red colours. Please contact visually impaired speakers to ask how they would prefer to be given warning signals. They are allowed to choose but must provide any specific devices. Timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. This, therefore, can involve, for example, sound effects and gestures. For an online contest, looking at the camera is considered eye contact. The speaker should start pretty much straight away and isn't allowed to delay unnecessarily. No signal can be given for going into overtime. If a time disqualification occurs, the contest chair must announce it prior to announcing results, but must not name the contestants involved. Finally, protests and disqualifications. If you are a voting judge or a contestant and have a protest relating to eligibility, originality, or reference to another contestant's speech, you must lodge it with either the chief judge or the contest chair prior to the announcement of the results. If you don't fit these criteria, save your breath because it won't be considered. Audience members, this means you. Contestants must be given a chance to respond to the voting judges if they are considered for disqualification on the basis of originality or for referencing another contestant's speech. A majority of the voting judges must concur in the decision to disqualify. The contest chair gets the sole say on disqualification on the basis of eligibility, and all judging decisions are final. Whew. I hope you got all of that. See you in the next video for the individual contest overviews.
Did everybody get all of that? Ready for the second video, which is much shorter, which explains the individual contest. One second. Apologies, I've lost the video, but I've just found it again.
And welcome to this short introduction to the rules and standard procedures for conducting Toastmasters International, evaluation, humorous and table topic speech contests at club level. It is not a substitution for reading the full rulebook. Where conflict is perceived between what I say and the official rulebook, the official rules always take precedence. We have also produced a separate introductory video giving an overview of the general rules for Toastmasters speech contests, and I have not repeated those here. The International Speech Contest must be conducted in English only and follows all general rules for Toastmasters speech contests. The winner of the World Championship of Public Speaking is not eligible to compete in future international speech contests. Speech introductions are very specific. The international contest, the contest master introduces the contestant by name, then speech title, then repeats the speech title, and finally repeats the contestant's name. Preliminary remarks about any speaker or the subject of their speech, or the name or location of the subject's club or place of residence are not permitted. Contestants are permitted to watch the speeches of their competitors. And for timing, international contest speeches must be 5 to 7 minutes. Speaking for less than 4 minutes 30 or more than 7 minutes 30 equals disqualification. The evaluation contest again follows all general rules for Toastmasters speech contests. At the beginning of this contest, a 5 to 7 minute test speech is presented. The test speech must be a contest-style speech or a project speech from Pathways. It is recommended that the Toastmaster giving the test speech not be a member of the same club as any one of the contestants. The test speaker must be introduced in standard competition format by announcing the speaker's name, the speech title, repeat the speech title, and finally repeat the speaker's name. The test speaker cannot share their project or any objectives for the speech with the contestant, the chief judge, the voting judges, tie-breaking judge, or the audience. Contestants may make preparatory notes during or after the test speech using the evaluation contestants note sheet, and they can use as many of these sheets as they like. After the last speech, contestants have 5 minutes to prepare their evaluation. This timing and all preparation is supervised by the contest sergeant at arms. Contestants cannot use digital or other devices such as recording equipment during the contest to gain an unfair advantage. After the 5 minutes of preparatory time has elapsed, no further preparation is allowed, and all contestants must hand their copy of the evaluation contestant's note sheet to the contest sergeant at arms. For online contests, we suggest that contestants hold both hands up to demonstrate that they are no longer writing. In-person contestants remain out of the room until their turn to speak. For virtual contests, this may mean being in an online breakout room where the sergeant at arms can observe the contestants to check that they are making no further notes while they wait for their turn. The evaluation contestant note sheet must be handed back to contestants as they are introduced to present their evaluation. Contest introductions again are very specific. For the evaluation contest, the contest master will read out the contestant's name twice. No preliminary remarks about any speaker are permitted. The timing of evaluations are the usual 2 to 3 minutes, with disqualifications for speaking for less than 1 minute 30 or more than 3 minutes 30 seconds. And that's it. On behalf of District 48, I wish you the best for a fun and successful club speech contest. Good luck.
Okay, can everyone see my slides again?
Nice and clear.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to zip through all these because we've done them.
I think you need to click on display settings and then select the top option.
Oh, you can see the, apologies,
Yes.
you can see
That's
the
okay.
wrong screen. Let's try this one. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. These are the sections of the rulebook, and we may well come back to these if we have time towards the end when we have a little pop quiz for you. The next section of the session this evening is about early planning. So this is how to start when you become contest chair. First thing you need to do is obviously set the date for your speech contest. Ideally, this needs to be 6 to 8 weeks in advance, but we're now well into contest season, so if you haven't set your date yet, make it as soon as you can. You need to check that the date falls within the window the area director gives you to accommodate future area level contests. If your club is small and there are 7 or fewer contestants, then you can probably have those contests in one meeting, but you may need to split it into 2 if you're anticipating a lot of competition. At area level, you need to select a date that works for everyone, and area directors should ideally work together so that they can all support and attend each other's speech contests. And at division level, it's important that your contest date and time does not interfere with another division that's within 10 miles, so that district trio leaders can attend all division contests. The next thing to do is tell people about it. So that means telling all your club members, all the functionaries, but also telling the area director and inviting them to attend if it's a club level contest, or telling the appropriate next level Toastmasters officials so that they can attend. I may have mentioned that it's quite important to familiarize yourself with the rulebook. And that is the next thing you need to do if you haven't already. You've already given yourself a huge bonus by attending this training session, and there's also a lot of resources online on the District 48 contest resource web pages. Pages 20 to 23 of the rulebook also have a contest chair checklist, although we have produced one for online contests that is available on the District 48 website. It's also really important to start to recruit contestants to give them enough notice to be able to prepare their speeches. The next thing, as someone quite rightly said at the beginning, is to recruit your team. Hopefully they're not makeup. The chief judge is the next most important person after you. They have their own checklist and they have a training session next week if they're able to attend, and you can select them in time. They recruit all the other functionaries. So it's really important that they get to work pretty soon. You can also choose to select a contest master who is essentially the Toastmaster for the contest, and they have their own training session in a couple of weeks with District 48. Then select 1 or 2 contest sergeants at arms. For virtual contests, the contest sergeant at arms needs to be the technology master. So they ideally need to be really confident in managing your video conferencing software, such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and in managing breakout rooms, which you will need if you're going to host an evaluation contest. If that sergeant at arms does not feel completely confident, then it might be appropriate to have a second sergeant at arms to do the other functions, such as managing the chat box and sitting in the breakout rooms to communicate and watch the participants while they're waiting to compete. Then you need to get to work. This is the exciting part. Work with your chief judge and your contest master to make sure that things progress. And that would usually mean holding weekly meetings, ideally on the same day at the same time, to keep up with status. You need to confirm with the chief judge that all functionaries have agreed and are committed, and also make sure that you agree with them who's going to be distributing the forms and making sure that the forms come back for both judges, functionaries, and contestants. You also need to communicate with the sergeants at arms to make sure that video conferencing requirements are lined up and that they're feeling confident with all the functions of video conferencing software that are required. And think about public relations and promotion opportunities. So at the moment, that's a little bit more tricky because you can't have a photographer at the event, but you might be able to take, for instance, contest screenshots, post on social media, or maybe contact local media to be featured on various websites. The final thing to do in advance is to finalize the contest agenda. District 48 has taken the hard work out of this by giving you a template, which is available online in different formats. Once you've completed the agenda for your club or higher level contest, it should be reviewed and proofread by your team. So the contest chair, the contest master, and the chief judge all read that form before it's distributed. And then also, you need to plan in advance for both a judge's and a competitor's online briefing meeting and set those dates. But Heather is now going to tell you more about that, along with how to prepare the final countdown week before your contest. over to Heather.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Parsons, and I've been struggling with this curl since our meeting started. So it's just gonna, it's gonna do its own thing. That's the nature of curly hair. Today, we are going to talk about the final countdown. We're going to talk about the week before your contest. Bear with me as I get this all set. Can everyone see? Okay. All right, the final countdown a week before. This is when the nerves start. We start to freak out. Things aren't coming together quite as we want. We've all been there. We know what that feeling is like. That's a week before our contest, and it's okay. We're going to be bringing everything together, making sure everything has a solution and that we're on top of everything. As the contest chair, you want to initiate the finalizing and approving of the scripts. The chair should work closely with the contest master on these because the contest master is the person who needs to familiarize themselves with the script and also be the one to present it as Toastmaster for your contest. But the chair will have a hand in it. So ideally, you'd want to work together on this. These scripts are available on the District 48 page, and they have been adapted for online contests, which is new for us this time. The scripts weren't available for online for our last contest, I believe. So this is a new feature you can find on our District 48 page. The contest chair is going to want to figure out who is planning and preparing the certificates. You can delegate this if you wish, but if this is something you would like to take on at the club level, it is acceptable for use the branded certificates from the Toastmaster International website. So feel free to download and use those. If you're if you're organizing an area or a division contest, your area director or division director has taken care of those trophies, so you don't need to worry about those. As the contest chair, you will want to make sure the paperwork is all in order. There's a lot, and it's a big responsibility, but it's one of the most important roles of the contest chair. All the forms are available on toastmasters.org. You want to make sure for your contestants, you have their contestant bio and their eligibility form. And then the chief judge is going to make sure that the judge's eligibility form has been turned in, the ballot counter forms, timer forms, etc. Some of these forms are the responsibility of the chief judge, and others the contest chair is going to want to make sure that they're making sure people fill in those and turn them in. But of course, the contest chair is going to want to be in contact with the chief judge to make sure that we're on track with the paperwork, because the paperwork is very important. Next, we want to make sure that we have the most updated version of Zoom and that our equipment is working properly, that we have microphones that work, that we know our speakers are working properly. Maybe we have two different sets of speakers. Which one are we going to use? What happens if the other one's on and we need to turn the other one off? These are all things we need to figure out before the contest, not just the chair, but the master and the chief judge and the contestants as well. We want to make sure it is as smooth as can be from a technology standpoint. Final preparations. We're going to proofread the script and the agenda, make sure everything is nice and smooth, make sure everyone's happy with it before we finalize it. When it's finalized, we will email it to our whole club or whatever stakeholder group we have to provide the appropriate agenda and script. We're going to make sure that our contestants are committed. Some people are going to have cold feet right before our contest. We don't want them to drop out right away. We want to make sure that we're touching base and we know that everyone is committed and ready to conduct their portion of the speech. We also want to make sure all of our functionaries are in line as well. Before your contest, make sure that the contest master and the chair have discussed who is going to announce the winners. This isn't something we want to figure out when we're knee deep in our meeting. This is something we need to know in advance and have written into our script. And finally, we're going to send an email to our contestants and our functionaries and make sure that they log into Zoom or are prepared to log into Zoom or whatever platform we're using for our contest at least 30 minutes before. After we've made our final preparations, one of the most important steps is to conduct a practice session. Practice makes perfect, and we want a perfect contest, or at least a very good, very great contest. So we're going to hold a Zoom practice session and a briefing or a briefing of what should happen on contest day. This practice session is for the chair, the master, the 1 or 2 sergeants at arms, and the chief judge. And the reason for this is to practice using the breakout rooms, make sure who knows who's going to practice breakout rooms and when, and also practice the communication. Are we going to be group texting? Are we going to be using conferencecall.com? Jeanette's going to be talking to us more about communication, but during the practice session, we want to make sure everyone is prepared to communicate properly with one another. We want to do this preferably 1 week out in advance. That gives us time to identify solutions to problems that come up. And we also want to conduct a contestant briefing and a judge's briefing, preferably before contest day. It's acceptable for it to be on contest day, but it's probably better for it to be in advance. That way it's not so much pressure on contest day for everyone. Also, we want to make sure that everyone has good internet access. Everyone's in a quiet room. You can probably hear my TV going. And we want to make sure that everyone has good connectivity, no distractions or interruptions. And if something really bad happens and the contest master or maybe the sergeant at arms, the technology master, if they lose connectivity, what do we do? So we need to have that stuff planned out in advance and know what's going to happen. In the event that a contestant loses connectivity, the chief judge is going to decide whether or not they proceed in the contest. So it's very important to have a plan B for your communication. We can talk about, or we can plan to have a group text, but if something happens, what do we do next? Do we go to email? That's something everyone needs to decide before contest day. And then, of course, so very important, judges are always secret. The identity needs to be secret. You have the option of blacking out the video, turning off the video feed, and turning your name in Zoom to judge. It depends on how big your contest is. That may or may not work for if you have 10 people versus 40 people. If you have 40 people in a contest, I personally don't think you need to do that because it's not immediately obvious who your judges are. We want to make sure that their identities are kept secret. Breakout rooms are a wonderful tool for holding contests, online contests at Toastmasters. And so long as we are in the online contest environment, we need to be able to best utilize breakout rooms. We're going to use them for contestant and judging briefings as a possibility. We used them last fall for the table topics contest. We will be using them this spring for the evaluation contest. It's also great to whisk off your chief judge and the ballot counters into a breakout room so they can freely discuss the results as they get them from their judges. They can talk about any kinds of, whatever they need to talk about, they have the room to do that and to do that in private. And of course, if there's any protests or disqualifications, any tricky conversations that need to be had, that should happen in a breakout room. So it's a great tool. And if you don't have a Zoom account, no problem. Contact your area director or your division director and you most likely can borrow one. So in setting up your contest, you have to enable break rooms. You have to enable the break room feature. It's not just there. So this is a screenshot of, I'm setting up a contest called Toastmaster Contest, very original. And I'm going to set the date. I'm going to make the duration probably an hour longer than I expect the contest to be, just to make sure. And then I'm going to save. I'm going to save my meeting. I've created my meeting. This is how we always do it when we go into Zoom. But to enable the breakout rooms, we need to go one step further. So do you see on my left-hand side, where's my mouse? On my left-hand side, we have settings right here. After you've created your meeting, you're going to click on settings. And on the settings panel, off to the right, you're going to see in meeting advanced. This is the option you're going to click on. And under in meeting advanced, the second option available is breakout room. You're going to see it right here. It will be grayed out. all the way onto the right. It'll be grayed out. You just need to click on it. So it's blue. This activates your breakout rooms, and then click the little checkbox here. Allow host to assign participants to breakout rooms when scheduling. You can do that. You don't have to do that, but it's great to have the option. So just turn on your option for the breakout rooms. Now that we know how to set one up, let's watch a video, a short video on how to use them. Bear with me one moment. Okay. Can everyone see and hear?
Hey everyone, Farah from Zoom here. On this brief video, we're going to show you how you can leverage our breakout room feature to take a large meeting or virtual classroom and split it up into smaller groups or sessions. You'll see that I have already enabled the breakout room feature, which you can find in your settings along the bottom. And that breakout room button will actually be right here. This is a button that only your hosts or co-hosts will be able to see. And right now we don't have a co-host in the session. If I manage my participants, I can hover over Catherine, for example, to make her a co-host. So she'll see this button now as well. When we're ready to split the group into smaller sessions, I can easily click this button to get a pop-up window asking me how many rooms I'd like to assign out and how many participants per room. For this example, it's recommending, since there are 6 people, we can split it up into 2 rooms. I can do this automatically or manually. So if we click on the automatic button, it'll generate those breakout rooms for us. Certainly if there's anyone I want to swap out, maybe I want to move Michael to the other room, I can exchange him for a different participant. Once I'm ready to open all rooms, I'll click this Open All Rooms button, and our participants will be able to join the sessions that we've created for them. So we'll slowly see those people join. One thing that's really important to note is that as a host or a co-host, you can actually hop between the different rooms to talk to the participants. You can see here I have the Join button. Now everybody's left to go to the rooms. I can broadcast a message to everybody and say, wrapping up in 1 minute. And this will broadcast the message, and then I can close the rooms, which gives them a 1-minute timer to rejoin our session. We'll give everybody a second to rejoin, and I'll show you 1 or 2 additional features with breakout rooms. There we go. We can kind of see everybody kind of popping back in. Now everybody's rejoined the main session. You'll see that I have the opportunity to reopen these rooms again, which is really great. If you have a very long session or a very long virtual class, you can split into these virtual smaller groups as often as you'd like. And the additional options here will allow you to automatically close breakout rooms after a specified amount of time. You can also change the countdown timer to be 30 seconds or 2 minutes if you like. I'll show you a setting where you can also pre-assign folks to be in your breakout room before the classroom starts. You'll want to navigate over to the class that's already been created in your Zoom portal. Under the Meetings tab, you can find your meeting. Scrolling all the way to the bottom, you'll see if we open this to re-edit it, I have the opportunity to pre-assign a breakout room here. And I can create the rooms and upload a CSV with all of my participants in advance so that their names are already populated in the room when I start the session. That's basically how you can run breakout rooms. We hope you found this video helpful. If you have any additional questions, please visit us at support.zoom.us. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.
Okay. So that is how you use breakout rooms. If anyone needs help with your particular contest, let me know. I'm happy to show you how to create your breakout rooms and move people.
And I know that sounds crazy because it's like, you must eat salads, but I would get
excuse me,
and I would feel lethargic.
Hi, this is Russell Stanhope from Teacher Training.
Apologies for that. Back on track now. If you need help setting up breakout rooms, let me know. I'm happy to go through and walk you through how to set them up. She set them up automatically, and that scooted people over to the breakout rooms, dividing them by 2. What I do is I create two rooms. I created one called Table Topics Room and then Chief Judge Room. And that's when I just moved people over manually. If you need any help, let me know. I'm happy to help. My email address is heather.parsons@myclearwater.com. heather.parsons@myclearwater.com. And I will turn the meeting over to Jeanette, who will lead us through contest day and after. Jeanette.
Thank you, Heather. That was an awesome video of the breakout training because I need to learn that. So I may call you and ask you to help. All right, let me share my screen. Somewhere I know I have to hit slideshow. Can some tell me where I do that again?
At the top, just beneath the red bar, almost to the middle, slideshow. Or hit F5.
F5. Okay, thank you. Oops. This is not where I want it to be. I apologize for this error and all the noise. So now we're at contest day and we're all set on our Zoom station and awaiting all our wonderful speeches that we're going to hear. So you wonder what's going to happen. Hopefully we're all in our quiet little rooms getting ready to listen to our teammates. So the chief or the contest chair will be or the contest master can do the contestant briefing. In this briefing, you want to tell the speakers to make sure what the speaker range area is, as well as how to make sure they're eye level with the computer so they're not looking down, make sure they're looking straight up, and that their lighting is clear so you can see the person speaking. You also want to establish during the contestant briefing the speaking order. You can pull a number out of a hat and designate it to a person, or you can have a person do a card collection and pick a number. Whoever has the highest number is the first person that's going to speak. Also, during the contestant briefing, you want to make sure you pronounce the person's correct name. So make sure if anybody has a name that's hyphenated, make sure you include both names, or just make sure you understand how the correct pronunciation of each person's name. So you can do the actual introduction of the contestant by speaking their name, as Hannah said, their contest title, or their speech title again, and then the contestant name. That way you can confirm the pronunciation is correct and clear. Also during the contestant briefing, you want to advise the person when you introduce them at the contest and the transition from one speaker to the next speaker. So the contest master may say, "Good morning, John Smith." Then John Smith will respond, as long as he or she can hear, say, "Good morning, contest master." So that is a good determination to tell when people connections are good. The chief judge will have his own briefing as well, and you will learn more about that, as Hannah spoke earlier, at next week's chief judge training on Zoom on next Tuesday. So you're getting ready to host your contest. The contest chair will introduce and say a few words and then introduce your contest master. But sometimes that person can be one and the same. So if you're the contest chair and the contest master, no additional introduction is necessary. You just introduce yourself. But if you're separate, then you can say a few words, talking to the audience and letting them to know what to expect to happen. Also, during the hosting of the contest, you want to announce some quote unquote Zoom hosting, Zoom house rules, such as make sure everybody is muted and make sure the contestant or the audience members understand there's going to be a 1 minute of silence between each speaker. And you may want to designate what you might show on the screen. You might want to show like a timer to show the 1 minute going on, or you might just want to show a Toastmaster logo to show that 1 minute of silence. And then, well, during the contest, after you hand out the meeting to the contest master, if for some odd reason after the contest master introduces the first speaker, if that speaker video cuts out or loses connection, as Hannah stated earlier, the chief judge gets to decide how long of a pause to reinstate the contest. And if that contestant is able to regain connectivity and allow the speaker to finish his speech. But the contest chair is the one who will designate where that contestant left off in his speech. So you can't start from the very beginning, but you can start wherever the next part of your speech was. The contest chair will state the last statement or the last phrase remembered during the speech. So, but then the chief judge will determine whether that person ends up being disqualified or not, if they can't come back. So after the contestants speak, and after each one finishes their speech, the chief judge and the ballot counters will go off to their little breakout room, and the contest master will ask contestants questions to take time while the ballot counters are counting their ballots. So one thing you might want to have is to make sure that the contest master has your speech profile in advance. This way they can think of some good questions to ask the contestants. Now, sometimes if the ballot counters and the chief judge may take longer than normal, you may have to have like a second go round of questions. So always have at least 2 questions to ask each contestant, because you don't know if there's going to be protests or disqualification questions that may keep the chief judge and the ballot counters a little bit longer than normal. So just be aware, make sure you have, again, 2 questions, so you have a backup, so in case time needs to be longer in the contestant interview. Now, when it comes to announce the favorite part of the contest, your winners, you want to make sure, depending on how many contestants there are, if you have 3 or more, you're going to announce, or 3 or more, you're going to announce 3rd place winner, the 2nd place winner, and the 1st place winner. However, to make things easier, instead of having it, we'll have the chief judge will have it written down, but during the contest, I wanted to mention earlier, the contest master, the chief judge, and the contest chair should have a secondary form of communication, such as a free conference call line. They can all join via earbuds, so those 3 people can be speaking with each other during the contest in case the contest chair needs to say something to the contest master. And this way, by having that other communication, the chief judge can speak to the contest master and tell them the winner, the 3rd place winner. So then the contest master just has to repeat what the chief judge just said for the 3rd place winner, instead of having it written down and making sure they read the winner in order correctly. Same with the 2nd place winner. The chief judge can tell the contest master the 2nd place winner, and then the contest master can just reiterate that to the audience and tell who the 2nd place winner is. And then with the 1st place winner, and throughout all the winners, we hope the audience will do those little quiet drum rolls for everybody to get everybody excited. And then they announce the first place winner. And just remember, the first place winner moves on to the next level of the contest. But before that, the chief judge needs to fill out this form. I should have posted a picture of it, but I didn't. The notification of winner form. Now this has to be filled with every contestant's name, club number, email address, and phone number. This has to have every single person who competed in the contest, because this needs to be shared with the next level contest chair. So in case the first person who won cannot make it, they have the information for the second person, the third person, and so on. And this is a very important paper that must be filled out at the end of the contest to ensure to the next level. So again, after the contest is completed, the winner notification of winner form will be handled by the chief judge. And that will go again to the next contest master. After that, after the contest is over, you know, you can all take pictures of the individual picture of the person on Zoom if you want, or maybe have them send a picture of them to you later on for promotions. But also, after the whole contest is completed, you're going to want to meet up with your team either that afternoon, that night, or the next day, and follow up to see what went well and how you can improve, or tell the next team how they might be able to improve from what you learned. So get your next level commitment for your contest chair and at least your chief judge. And then maybe a couple weeks later, get your contest master. And of course, again, make sure you have your notification of winner forms to the correct people. And then, of course, what are you going to do? Promote your success. Promote it on social media. Promote it in your club. Promote it in your local newspaper. And then if you really, really want to, there's an option. You can go to Bay News 9. That's all surrounded by the Tampa Bay area. And you can promote your information out there as well as your club information. However, Bay News 9 needs 30 days in advance of any notification. So if you're going to have an event or you just want to promote your information, you'll have to do it within 30 days. And then here's some other ideas to publicize your contest. Make sure you tell your employers. You might get some people to attend this contest that's never been a Toastmaster, and maybe you might get some membership out of it, and maybe new friends, and maybe an award from your employer. You never know. But during your contest, I want to make sure you have your attitudes right and your affirmations. Make sure or understand you're going to have total confidence in yourself to produce this contest. Commit and envision a successful contest. When you envision something, most likely it will happen. It may not happen the exact way you envision, but it will be successful and come out the way you hopefully anticipate. Stay focused and organized. Meet up with your team members consistently each week, at least one time a week. Meet with your team members as well as the contestants and your functionaries. Make sure there's no lapse, or make sure nobody is going to cancel out at the last minute, and reaffirm your assignments and completions. Always over communicate and be certain, but be unwilling to compromise, but be consistent and firm, and be flexible with 1 week left to go. And one other thing, always have a backup for your chief judge, your contest master, and your contest chair, because you can always have a actually have a person to job shadow you, so that you can take them to the next contest and you'll be prepared and won't be rushing around finding those new major roles in the contest. So make sure you communicate. And as I said, make sure you have backup roles so that way you can have a job shadow and or somebody in case you lose connection online during the actual contest. But always have a backup so you can train your backup for the next term of the contest. And again, make sure you reestablish your camera lighting for all your contestants and make sure everybody's aware of the speaking area. And make sure your communication stays constant by either text message or email, and maybe a phone call every now and then just to confirm everything when you set up your weekly meetings. And again, just a reiteration in writing how you can verbally communicate. And that's just my short time. So hopefully you all have a great and wonderful contest. And as a district contest chair, let me know if I can help you in any way or answer any of your questions. So I will take it over to Ms. Christine to see if she has received any questions on the chat room.
Nice job, ladies. I have 2 comments from our audience. The first comment is for the evaluation contest. One sergeant at arms needs to be in the breakout room with the contestants for the evaluation contest. The Zoom master or the other sergeant at arms can stay in the contest room and text or notify the SAA in the breakout room when it is time for the next contestant. Second comment, it would be unfair to have interviews between contests if it happens that there is a contestant that is competing in both contests. So be mindful of that.
Excuse me, can you repeat that one last part one more time?
Yes. I believe Jeanette spoke about the interviewing the contestants process, which is usually done while the judges are finishing, after the judges have finished their ballots and the ballot counters and the chief judge are counting the ballots. Since we're holding 2 contests, most likely one right after the other, people may interview after the first contest and then again after the second contest. But if you have a contestant who is competing in both, it's a little unfair to interview them before their next contest, because we're supposed to really know nothing about them other than their name and their speech title.
So I have several, well, not several, I have at least 3 that are participating in both. So do you have a suggestion then of when?
Yep. Interview all of your contestants at the end of your second contest while the ballots are being counted. And it's not necessary to announce the winners from your first contest right after that contest. You may wait and announce all of your winners at the end of the event. I believe that's entirely up to you.
Okay, and one last question. If they are in both, to interview them last, then should everyone be interviewed or only?
And everyone should be interviewed
everyone,
at the end,
in both
after both contests. After both contests are completed, while they're ballots are being counted for your second contest.
Regardless if they're duplicate or not, because then you'll have some people that are only participating in one being interviewed after the first contest.
No,
but then we're not.
You would
going to
interview them. You would interview them all at the end.
Okay, that's what
after this. Yeah, after the second contest.
And then you only have to interview them once versus twice.
Right.
Fabulous. Okay.
I like that.
Thank you.
Too.
Thank you. My ears perked up when you said that. Oh, thank you.
Anybody else with any questions?
Levon did message me and ask about the speaking area for the online contests. And I just figured it'd be good to share with everybody that it's just the Brady Bunch square on the screen. But it's just a formality of making sure that we cover the speaking area.
And did someone mention whether your contestants are seated or standing?
I think it's speaker preference. Unless someone else has different information from me.
I don't have information. I have observation. I noticed last session in the fall and at the spring conference, at the spring contests in May or late April, all of the contestants were standing.
Go ahead, Christine.
You want to have your contestants test their equipment and test the relative height of their camera and make sure that when they can be seen, usually from about hip level to the top of their head when they're standing, that they speak loud enough that their equipment can pick up their voice unless they are wearing earbuds or a headset that will allow them to be farther back. Anybody else have any input on that or comment?
No, I think that makes sense. And somebody put a comment in the chat that doing a dry run is of vital importance. And I agree. If you do the briefings the day before or a couple days before, it gives people practice and you can make sure you get all the kinks worked out. Where if you do the briefing right before the contest, not a lot of time to work out any of the Zoom challenged kinks or any type of programming that you're using, because it's not all going to be done by a Zoom.
Good point. And yes, that I did hear Jeanette mention this, and I will mention it again. It is not part of the timing process, nor is it part of the speech. But as each contestant is coming up and getting ready to be introduced, they are greeted by the contest master, and the contest master would say, "Good morning, Jean." That gives the contestant the opportunity to respond. And now we know that we can hear them and we can see them. Anyone who was watching last spring's district contest, when they gave that verbal handshake or verbal greeting to check the connectivity, one of the contestants could not be heard, and it took a good maybe 10 minutes for them to iron out the technical difficulties and allow that person to be able to compete. But that is, the timers are not timing that. That's not the introduction. It's more of a greeting or a verbal handshake. Someone asks, how are technical glitches to be managed? Depends on the technical glitch. So it's wise to have someone, usually the primary sergeant at arms, who is technically competent and knows a lot about Zoom and knows a lot about the tech stuff that goes into having a virtual or online meeting, contest, event, anything.
And the chief judge can establish how the length of the pause to where the speaker can speak again if needed.
Yes, I
That's
saw
up
the
to the-
I thought that
contest.
was the, I thought that was the contest master.
The
So-
chief judge determines the time or the pause of the contest where to get the speaker back up if they are able to come back to the connection.
Then the contest master decides where to begin speaking again.
Okay. We are more than happy to stay and answer any questions that anyone else may have. For those of you who have other obligations and need to leave, please feel free to do so. But we'll be around for an extra few minutes anyway.
But a huge thank you to Hannah, Jeanette, Heather, Christine, David for putting great programming together, and for the four ladies for leading the presentation tonight. Great job.
And let me remind everyone that next Tuesday at 6 p.m., not 7, but 6 p.m., David Gosnell, District 48 Chief Judge, will be conducting the Chief Judges Training. So please sign up for that as well. You will learn a lot there too.
Thank you all for attending as well tonight.
Thank you, everybody. All the best and good luck for your contest.
Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Actually, Jean, I do have one more question. This is being recorded. Will it be emailed out to us?
It will not be. It'll be posted on district48.org once we're able to get everything taken care of on it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
night.
Thanks. Good night, Bonnie.
Night.
Bye.